welcome back to my channel. My name is Sabrina, and today we're doing a beautiful tofu scramble. It can be used at any time of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So let's jump right into the video. We're going to start by chopping your favorite vegetables. Mine happen to be peppers, the sweet peppers. So I love orange or red peppers, maybe yellow peppers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to core it and then dice them until they're nice and small. You want to be able to chop all your vegetables around the same size if possible. That way it will cook around the same time. So that's all I'm doing, is chopping these up and dicing them nicely. You want to take as many seeds out as you can, but you know, I wouldn't get too weird about the seeds. Yeah, it's okay. We're going to put those in a bowl. As all of our vegetables are chopped, we're going to put it in a bowl, keep our area nice and clean, and we can move forward. Our mushrooms, I think I chopped about 2 or 3 large white mushrooms, but if you want to use a different kind of mushroom, it really doesn't matter. We just want to have lots of texture, lots of color, which means there's more nutrients, and that way you get a lot of flavor. We're also going to chop up a huge handful of spinach, and you want to dice this really small. It's going to cook down. You know how spinach is. It cooks down to almost nothing, so you can have a whole lot of it. You could have used kale or collards in this. I try to get greens in every meal, so it doesn't matter which green. We are also using 1 small to medium red onion. I like the sweetness of red onions. If I don't have red, I will use white onions. It's no problem, but I'm only going to use 1, and some people may or may not like the red onions, but I encourage you to try it. You're really going to enjoy the flavor. So when you're dicing your red onions, again, make sure you have the size of them around the same, so that they all cook around the same. So you can kind of get an idea in this picture of how small I am making the onion cut. Red onions can be a little messy, okay? So your fingers are going to get a little messy and all, but it is so worth the mess. This one, I think, had come out of the garden, so I couldn't get the skin off of it, so I got red everywhere. It's all right. It's still good. Once your vegetables are chopped, I want you to move to the marinade. I am now making a marinade for my tofu scrambles, and it's absolutely delicious. This one has nutritional yeast. It also has your black salt, which, as you know, is not black, but you want to add some of that in there. This is where you'll get the sulfur type smell, and the taste of eggs kind of come out when you use black salt. I also added onion powder and garlic powder. I don't know what happened to that part of the video, but just rest assured, I always put onion powder and garlic powder in all of those, in most of my savory meals, and it just adds a lot of flavor to the dish. If you'd like, and if it's not salty enough, you can also add a little bit of regular salt, either sea salt or table salt. But the black salt, not only does it have that sulfur smell, it also has that taste. So you can over salt it if you don't check it, okay? Once I add all the dry seasoning and dry mixes, then I just mix it well. And then we will add our liquids. The liquid I'm using is a plant-based milk. It could be any plant-based milk you like. I think I used oat milk in here because I like the oat milk is a little more thick, but you can use soy milk or almond milk or whatever kind of milk you want. You know, most of the plant-based milks to me don't have a lot of flavor, but this marinade right here is going to have a lot of flavor. So you see that I will mix this until it's nice and creamy, but I thought that it was a little too thick because, again, your tofu is going to soak up and absorb any flavor you put in it, but if this is too thick, it's not going to be able to absorb anything. So I added a little bit more milk. Once you add the milk, you can mix it up to see whether or not it's thin or thick enough for you. Once I got it as thin as I kind of like it, as thin as I thought it needed to be, then I was ready to move on to the next step. Now we're just going to take our tofu block and crumble it up into large pieces into our marinade. You don't want it too small, although I guess it depends on how you like your scrambled eggs. I like some big pieces, some small pieces, but ultimately you just want to be able to put it right into this marinade, and then you're going to mix until every morsel is covered, okay? If you use tofu at all, you know that there's no flavor, and it comes full of water. So once you press that water out, then you have to put the liquid or whatever flavor you want back in. And so that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm just mixing it up, making sure the tofu is completely coated. So now that the sauce is done, the tofu is marinating, it's time to cook our vegetables. So I just sprayed a pan, and I'm going to cook my aromatics first, which would be my onions, and then later my garlic. So you want to cook your onions until they are sort of, they say translucent, but really it's just so that they're cooked through. They kind of change in color a little bit. These are red, so you won't be able to see as much of that color change, but you do just want to stir them around and cook them. You don't want to burn them. You don't want them brown. You want them to cook through. We are also going to be layering our flavors. So as we cook this level, or this layer right here, you're going to see that we're going to eventually add a little bit of flavor to this layer as well. If you want to check to test if they're done, just squeeze it or try to cut a piece, and then you'll be able to see whether or not it's finished. I also added a little bit of salt, and as I mentioned, the garlic as well, so that this layer is done. So you can continue to cook it down. Cook the garlic a little bit. Just be careful. Garlic will burn very, very quickly, and you don't want the burnt garlic taste in this. There is a place for that, by the way, but not here. So just continue to saute the ingredients so far in the pan, and then you can add the rest of the vegetables. I poured them all right in there. It's going to cook down pretty quickly, but you want to be able to mix your hot ingredients on the bottom with your cool ingredients on the top, and all the seasonings will also be mixed in there. I believe the only thing I added to this was some salt and pepper and maybe some nature seasoning. I don't know, but you don't really need a lot because you're going to have so much flavor in your tofu later. To speed up the cooking, I usually add a little bit of water and pop a lid on it. That way it'll kind of steam some of those more crispy vegetables. It'll wilt the spinach, and it'll cook a lot quicker. I realized I did want a little more liquid and juiciness to my tofu scramble, so I'm making a little more of the marinade. Not measure anything over here. I'll put the measurements down in the description box, but all the ingredients you can now see since the other part of the video was missing. But it just has your milk, it has nutritional yeast, I have some turmeric in there, I have some black salt, some onion powder, garlic powder. All those things are always in my tofu marinade. Again, tofu has no flavor, so whatever you put in there is what it's going to taste like. And I mix this up, and let me tell you, if you want it nice and thick, now that everything else is coated, you can make it thick or as thin as you'd like. But instead of pour it over top of the tofu, since I already have some of that marinating, I'm going to wait till I get it in the pan and just pour it over the top so it kind of coats it even more. So let's check our vegetables. They're looking pretty good. Spinach is wilted, the peppers are looking good. I'm going to check them to see if they're done. I'll just try to cut one of them or so. I'm just checking those. That's how you know they're finished. Once I know my vegetables are done, I push everything to the back because I'm going to put my tofu right in this pan. We're going with a one-pot meal right here. We don't need to dirty up nothing else. I'll just pour it all right in the pot. And interestingly enough, tofu is cooked when you take it out of the packaging, but you want to heat it up or season it up or something like that. So we really don't have to cook the tofu long because it's already cooked. So I have it in the pan. I didn't even add any other oils or anything. I'm just going to cook this down so that all of the pieces get nice and cooked. Sometimes I like to brown my tofu because that just enhances the flavor as well. If you cut it, you're going to see some of the white area, but I would like to keep it all the color of eggs because that's really what I'm eating it as my tofu scramble. Now that extra marinade we made, second batch marinade, we're just going to pour that right over the top. Man, that's good. It is it's still good. Once you know how to make the marinade, you're going to make sure that every tofu scramble you make has the marinade. And you'll see I like it kind of runny in the pan because that means the bottom tofu is now getting a lot of this extra marinade and being able to cook down. And just let it, like I said, cook for a couple of minutes. And then your vegetables are all done. The tofu is all done. And, you can plate it up and eat it up. So let's now get this on a plate. I want you to see the beauty of this meal. Sometimes I will put the tofu separate from the vegetables, but usually I will just put them right on the top because I like to eat them together. I like a mixture of flavors, and when you see this together and you smell it together, it is going to just be absolutely delicious. You have a beautiful bed of flavored and seasoned tofu on the bottom, and you have wonderfully seasoned and cooked vegetables on the top. You have your colors, your flavors, your textures. This is a meal for any time of the day. You will enjoy it. I'm telling you, give tofu a chance. All right, have a great day. Stay blessed, everyone. And don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.